Well, I'm out in production today, and this I thought this was kind of cool. You don't get to see that too often. There's the insides of a BHK, probably a well, it says US right there. So that's a US voltage BHK 300 monoblock amplifier. You can see, maybe you can see in here the tube sockets. They're empty right now. Look at that giant transformer. There are actually two of them in here, and they haven't put the second one on yet. But this is the power output stage. This is the input stage where the tubes are. So kind of cool. There's a row of them back here. We had a special. I think it was Black Friday or something, and just sold a whole bunch of BHKs. So people are going to be in love when they hear that. That amplifier is killer, absolute killer. All right, Varun in Canberra, Australia. Wow, that sounds like in the middle of somewhere, probably nowhere. I don't know where Canberra is. Canberra, sorry. I want to know the difference between in-ceiling speakers versus floor-standing speakers. Which of these work better? My living room setup comprises 7.2 channels driven by a Denon 4300 amp consisting of 7 speakers and 2 subwoofers. Sounds like quite a system. The front speakers are B&Ws in ceiling, and center and surrounds are 4 684 speakers, all B&W. I also have 2 REL subs. I've always felt that the speakers are underpowered and don't feel the bass, and contemplate not going for CM8S2 floor standing speakers. I'm sorry, I don't know all these model numbers. For my research, I found in ceiling and CCM 7.3 both had 3-way speaker setups. Is it true that the size of the speaker, the box size, matters for more deep bass? And the shopkeeper told me no, it does not matter for deep bass. Well, I hate to argue with shopkeepers, but it does matter. It really depends. Most in-wall, in-ceiling speakers haven't low bass at all. In fact, if they have small woofers generally, and you're going to have some sort of box for that, and that's usually a ceiling joist, which, depending on how they install it, can be a decent size amount of area. I don't know how homes are built in Canberra, Australia, but if you do it just right, an in-wall speaker can have quite a large area behind the joists and they build a little box in there, so you can have some decent size area behind the speaker, but it's the size of the woofer that, in my experience, most in-wall speakers they don't have big woofers. Let's put it that way. And I'm not a big fan of in-walls, in-ceiling speakers. Now, I have them in my home theater, but only for the rear channels, which I don't really care about. Rear channels are effect channels, and yeah, okay, somebody's walking around the room. I don't expect any bass out of there. They rarely put bottom end in those, and even if they did, I'm not sure I'd be overly concerned. I have is it 12.1, the Dolby Atmos system? So I've got in-ceiling speakers in the ceiling, but again, those are effects channels. In my home theater, though, where it counts, the center channel, the left, right, the side speakers, those are all real speakers. I actually went and, because I'm a bit of a nut, I don't like speakers that are in a home theater setting that are not behind the screen. Okay, so I don't know how many of you know this, but when you go to a movie theater, the screen itself is what's called an acoustically transparent screen, and the left and right and center in any decent theater are these big giant speakers, usually horns, that are physically behind the screen. So when an actor's on screen and she's singing or talking or whatever, that sound really sounds like it's coming directly from her voice, because you know what? It is. It's literally behind the screen. So I went with some beautiful Bollner Graben ribbons They have built-in woofers and ribbons. I built a special housing. We created essentially a floor standing speaker, and then put that floor stander in the wall. And we did the same for the left, the right, and the center. And then I bought a very expensive Stewart acoustically transparent screen that had great brightness to it. So you can't see the speakers, but the sound of them comes right through. And man, that's the way to go. That is really cool. And those are the three that are really important. The surround sides, yeah. I mean, I went with Bob Carver's old company. What was that? Oh, I can't for the life of me remember now. He's had so many companies. But maybe it was Carver. I don't remember. Anyway, I went for their little on-wall speakers, because I prefer on-wall for something that is like sort of important, and the rest I did in-wall and ceiling. But the important speakers, the subwoofer, I would never use built-in, in-wall, on-wall, in-ceiling speakers at all. Not me. Because I really care about the way it sounds. And I would never power it with a weenie receiver or even a big receiver. I don't like those. So what I did is I bought a Marantz. I particularly like Marantz. And I bought their large 12-channel surround sound processor. And it has XLR outs. So I have 12, 13 channels of output. And I hook that up to separate Class A/B Emotiva amplifiers and power everything with power plants. And that's my home theater. And I'll show it to you one of these days. It's really, really cool. And I got a couple of REL subs down below that will lift you right off the couch. So anyway, you need some work on it. And you can email me directly if you want. And I can give you, it's paul@psaudio.com. So if you've got questions, feel free.